One of the main reasons people tell me they don't want to leave a position outside of financial security is lack of clarity and confidence around what to do. This feeling can 100% be remedied if you are ready to do the work. There is no quick fix to finding a job or advancing in your career, but being strategic and doing the work will pay off. If you're ready to work, let's go. This is one episode in a 20-episode season designed to provide career foundations for experienced professionals. We are going to give you the tools to find clarity and confidence, help you with your resume, give you simple interview strategies, known job search strategies, negotiation tactics, and more, all with an experienced professional in mind. My name is Julia, and I'm the career strategist behind the Ride the Tide Collective podcast, where we equip ambitious professionals to strategize and take action to advance their career. Welcome, everyone. A few episodes ago, I touched on interviewing and spent the episode breaking down the answers to a popular interview question. Tell me about yourself. While breaking down answers to interview questions is extremely helpful for you to plan your own answers, for some of you, it doesn't get to the root of your interviewing nerves. In this episode, we are looking at moving from being scared to confident in the interview process. For most people, the entire process of interviewing is what creates stress, anxiety, and sometimes panic. For others, interviewing is just another piece of the career puzzle. So what makes someone more confident than someone else? Well, there are a lot of factors, but let's look at the main three self-beliefs: self-efficacy, self-esteem, and self-confidence. For those of you who don't know, I spent about 8 years in career development in higher education, and my master's degree is a Master of Science in College Counseling and Student Development, which means I took a lot of counseling courses, and because of the nature of my job, I focused a lot on these three self-beliefs. Let's start with self-efficacy, one of my personal favorites. This is an individual's belief about their capacity to influence the events of their own lives. Self-efficacy is about capability. What I love about self-efficacy is that we have control over it. Our self-efficacy can evolve and change. When I work with clients, in the first session, it's a way for me to determine someone's self-efficacy. The language they use to describe themselves and their situation is usually a tip-off. Clients with high self-efficacy know they have the abilities for the career they want. They just might not be sure how to obtain it or get to the next level. They need a strategy and believe in themselves enough to act on that strategy. Clients with low self-efficacy usually feel more defeated. They use language that suggests they are the problem and don't believe they have the capabilities to get where they want to go. If they end up with me, it's a good sign because it means somewhere inside they know they are meant for more, but they have to figure out their blocks to getting there. In my experience, people with low self-efficacy usually need to reframe situations in a more positive light, and in some cases, change the narrative of how they view themselves. Self-esteem, on the other hand, is more about worth and worthiness. It can be influenced by many factors in one's life and is thought to be difficult to change. While there are a few different definitions of self-esteem, the highlights suggest that self-esteem is a main part of our development and ability to thrive. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need self-esteem and respect from others to continue to evolve and eventually reach self-actualization. Similar to my previous example, people with low self-efficacy tend to also have low self-esteem. More often than not, this stems from a dramatic event, how they were raised, etc. Seeking appropriate professional help in these scenarios is suggested to be able to move forward and build a higher level of self-efficacy and self-esteem. And finally, we have self-confidence, which can be defined as one's ability to trust their own skills, capacities, and judgments to successfully approach and manage life's challenges. From my experience, self-confidence can be tricky. Depending on how you were raised, your worldview, or your societal norms, confidence can be seen as prideful or as a way to gain respect. Regardless of your own definition, we need confidence to be able to take action, whether in career or life. So what do these 3 self-beliefs have to do with interviewing? Well, everything. Most people think that if they prepare enough for an interview, they won't be scared. While preparation is extremely helpful to lowering your interview anxiety, the root of the stress comes from how much you believe in yourself. So how do you really know if you have low self-esteem or high self-esteem? A slew of studies found that there are 6 attributes that account for the success of people with high self-esteem. The first, a greater sense of self-worth. The second, greater enjoyment in life and in activities. The third, freedom from self-doubt. The fourth, freedom from fear and anxiety, freedom from social anxiety and less stress. The fifth, more energy and motivation to act. And the sixth, more enjoyable time interacting with people at social gatherings. When you are relaxed and confident, others will feel at ease around you. If you went through this list and didn't relate to any of the attributes, you will want to take some time to dig into your self-esteem. People with high levels of self-esteem aren't as rattled by an interview because not only do they believe they can do the job, but they also know that if they don't get the job, something else will come along. They don't attach their self-worth to an interview. Let me say that again another way. Your self-worth should not be tied to whether an interviewer liked you or whether you get the job after an interview. Your self-worth should be tied to the fact that you know you possess the skills and capabilities to do the job. So often, people put all their eggs in one basket when it comes to the job search and interview process, usually out of desperation. When we are desperate to obtain a position because we are trying to get out of our current situation, our level of fear and anxiety increases. You might already have low self-efficacy because of your current job, and when you walk into an interview, you realize what is at stake and put more pressure on yourself. So how do we avoid this feeling? Don't wait until you can't stand your job to apply and interview for new positions. Honestly, it is that simple. One of the first episodes of the podcast talks about career goals. And one of the goals that I outline is applying to at least one position every year, whether you want to leave your job or not. Why? Well, first of all, keeps you on your toes and make sure that you're in tune with the job market for your role. But another underlying reason is the reality check for your confidence and abilities. Complacency can kill your career. And if you are applying and interviewing at least once a year, it keeps you fresh. In some cases, you might get an opportunity you didn't even know you wanted. And since you already have a job, the pressure to be perfect goes away. The fear goes away because you have nothing to lose. Having said all that, I know that some of you are just trying to make it through an interview, and the time it takes to get to the root of your self-esteem, self-efficacy, and self-confidence is more than you have right now. So let's talk tactical strategies to move from fear to confidence. The first, prepare and practice. I said it before, but preparation helps you feel confident about your skills and abilities. The more you prepare your interview stories and practice basic interview questions, the easier it will be to answer the questions you weren't expecting. Ask a mentor or a friend to run through interview questions with you and send them a gift card for their time. Pro tip, outline and articulate at least 3 to 5 stories in your career that could be used to answer multiple interview questions. Number 2, timing. If possible, schedule your interview at a time when you have the most energy and are the most alert. Be mindful of traffic if you have to commute, and give yourself enough time so that you aren't rushed. Tip number 3, healthy habits. Getting enough sleep, eating well, and hydrating are the 3 habits I would encourage in the week leading up to an interview, especially if it's a big one. The more your body is ready to go, the more your mind will be as well. Number 4, articulate your goals. When you have clear goals in your career or life, you become more confident about why this position is right for you and how it fits into your future plans. That level of confidence in an interview tends to impress. While ultimately you want to focus on how your skills and abilities will benefit the company, when you can articulate how this position fits into your professional goals, the employer will see that you will be dedicated to the job. And number 5, know that you will mess up. No one is perfect when they interview. We all stumble on at least one question, or do something, or say something awkward. Don't let that one moment define the entire interview. I've worked with many clients who call me after the interview and tell me they bombed it. I'm usually surprised when they say this, so I ask them to walk me through the interview. More often than not, there is maybe 1 or 2 moments they regret. Either they flubbed an answer to a question or shook someone's hand weird, but it's never the entire interview. It's 1 or 2 moments. Don't let those 1 or 2 moments take away from an otherwise successful interview. Fear and confidence are tricky emotions because sometimes it feels like we don't have any control over them. But the reality is we do. It definitely takes work, especially if we are coming from a place of low self-esteem and low self-efficacy. But it can be done. This work doesn't end with the interview process either. These 3 self-beliefs can impact how you do your job, your relationships, and how successful you will be, however you define success. At the end of the day, the interview is one piece of the career advancement process and puzzle that is a necessary evil. As you have heard me say before, when you are well connected, you will know what to expect and probably already know the people in the room, which also reduces anxiety and boosts confidence. A big thank you to positivepsychology.com, where I was able to obtain the definitions needed to make this episode possible. I'll link this resource along with past episodes I mentioned in the show notes. If you have any questions about this episode or want to continue the conversation, please connect with Ride the Tide Collective on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook.